Yeah, it's an exciting time for these young men to it's kind of the first step in their process, meeting with the GMs, and they get through that kind of grueling psychological process. And now they're getting ready for the physiological domains where we somewhat assess their physiological capabilities off ice and try to relate that to their on ice capabilities.
I mean, in a general sense, obviously there's 100 players here, but what are you and your staff kind of hoping to get out of the weekend here in the testing phase of this combine?
We're looking to assess the physiological parameters in relation to their overall athleticism. So a lot goes into that. It's their upper body capabilities, their lower body capabilities, their anthropometrics, which is the relationship of like their limb length, their wingspan, their body composition, to kind of stereotype or somatotype what they are as an athlete. From there, we look at what is their genetic makeup and their capabilities and potential to growing into being a more mature athlete.
One of the things that Todd Button said that I thought was interesting the other day when we spoke to him was it's not just about kind of what these players can do now, it's what they might project to be in 4 or 5 years when they're in their early 20s and kind of at their peak of their physical performance capabilities. I mean, I wonder if you could just expand on that and just, that mindset of current strength versus potential.
There is a maturation aspect, and when you look at different organizations or sports, these guys are really young, so the potential is hard to assess, but there are some correlations and predictive values in some of the tests we do in relation to their genetic potential into becoming future NHL athletes.
And I mean, for that reason, like it's a lot different for the average fan looking at some of the numbers here versus looking at somebody's 40-yard dash in the NFL combine, right? Just because you're dealing with a different type of athlete, a different age.
Yes, definitely. And when we look at this, it's there's a ranking system that there's only one way to do it. It's a ranking system. We look at positional differences. We can look at, the relationship of these guys with our other prospects that are a little bit older, and then kind of AHL and the NHL standards. But the ranking system is the best, and that's kind of like a total score of an athlete. So it's just an overall representation of the physiological capabilities.
Give me a bit of an insight to the regimen, the testing regimen that these guys are going through. I know kind of some of the activities started Thursday, Friday, but the bulk of it will be Saturday, right? But just you're really getting the whole gamut with respect to what kind of tests these kids are going through.
Yeah, so it can be broken down into a couple different sections. One would be like the anthropometrics, so their wingspan, their height, their weight, their limb length, their body composition. The other ones would be the energy system development, so aerobic capacity, their anaerobic capacity, which is like their ability to sustain high intensity efforts. We also look at the upper body metrics and lower body metrics. Upper body is mostly strength and muscular endurance with some power, and then we look at lower body from an instantaneous muscular power, so like a vertical jump, a broad jump. And what we're trying to do is basically take a synopsis of the upper body, the lower body, the anthropometrics, and the energy systems to somewhat classify these athletes into what they are and what their potential could be in 5 to 6 years.
And last one for you, I mean, you look at the number of picks the Flames have in the upcoming draft. I think you do the math. I mean, there's a possibility that, close to 10% of the kids that are here this week might end up pulling on a Flames sweater at the draft at the end of the month in Vegas. So it's safe to say that you guys are really kind of spend a lot of time with respect to data collection and really getting as broad a base as you can.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, the scouting staff from Todd and the GMs kind of put together their list, and they are fortunate enough to forward that to us. And then myself and our development strength coach, Zach McLean, will be here with me. The data collection process is handled from all of the supervisors and the attendants down there, and then we mostly focus on the aggregation of the metrics, the data visualization, and then trying to make sure the information is easy to understand and it's very thorough from a statistical analysis perspective to compare the athletes to each other for management and the draft.